Okay, so typically Leslie, my boss, joins us. She already accepted this meeting. She likely is either busy or will hop on at some later point. When and if she does, we'll let her in. I don't believe that she has anything to speak to you guys directly about, but she just likes to participate. So with that said, thank you for joining the respiratory department meeting for July. Just barely got it snuck in on the last day. Lots of stuff has kind of come down the beginning of this new fiscal year, some of which we're going to be talking about later in this meeting. So start off with a brief reflection. This is a quote from former President John F. Kennedy. Things do not happen, things are made to happen. And this is just the same with you guys doing the work with our patients, making sure that they're taken care of, making sure that they get the medications and the treatment plans that are ordered so that they can be healthy and discharged and go on with their lives. Same with leadership. We need to be fighting for you guys as much as possible so that you guys can do the jobs that we're asking you to do, and that's to take care of our patients. All right, so quick agenda overview. We're going to go over accounting, um, hanging topic RT equipment, a recap of the mock survey that we had a couple weeks ago, some recaps on team and expectations, employee evaluations, which we're just starting to do, uh, employee satisfaction survey. We'll start taking some of the feedback from those surveys and try to solicit some suggestions from you guys to see how I can make the department better for you. A couple of more hanging topics: education, unit-based practice council. Carrie's over in the sleep lab doing EEG. I don't know that she'll have time to break away, but I can report out one of our more recent projects for the unit-based practice council when we get there. And then scanning scores, positions, touch point on a recent executive order from our governor, Gavin Newsom, regarding homeless encampments. We'll go over that. Productivity, a new topic. Kudos, which is going to be very short because as of yesterday and this morning, I don't think there was anything on the board again, but that's all right. And then open forum and questions. So first and foremost, productivity. As you guys might remember from last month, June was the last month of fiscal year 24. We closed it out very strong. We were at, I believe, 105%, which is phenomenal. Excellent work. As you can see, we are 2 pay periods in. Obviously, you guys are very aware of the fact that we have slowed down tremendously. Typically, RT does in the summer months, and we pick up in the fall and winter and early spring. So our productivity with 2 pay periods in has like very dramatically gone down. This is well, it's very important. It is expected, but nevertheless, we need to make some adjustments in order to really deal with this in real time. And so you guys are aware, this isn't something that is just affecting respiratory therapy. Beginning of fiscal years affect all departments equally. Your nursing peers and partners and other ancillary members or ancillary departments are going through the same things that we are. I do have a plan, I do have tools, and we'll go over that later in the meeting. But again, just a touch point, year to date, 63.38. Of course, the expectation is 100% or higher. And overtime, 4.19%. The expectation is 2% or less. Overtime really isn't that as much of a concern as productivity, but still, again, just so you guys are aware. Again, just a gentle reminder, you guys typically do a really good job, as was demonstrated during actually our mock survey. Um, there were no findings that were directly related to respiratory therapy or the department or the staff. All staff members had employee files that were pristine, and moreover, the equipment that we stored and the manner and practice that we used to store them, and then turn over equipment to get it cleaned, all checked out, flying colors. So phenomenal job. Keep doing what you're doing. Clean, bag and tag, plug in, same stuff. So again, leads perfectly into the recap of the survey. Things that were like not directly related to RT, but peripherally related to RT, something that we're not necessarily responsible for, but have partners that will help facilitate. One of the findings was up on our fourth floor, since we have oxygen cylinders up there, E-cylinders. What needs to be posted on the door leading into that room is essentially just one of those diamond notification stickers, decals that demarcate that there's oxidizing gases that are stored within. You'd likely see this throughout the campus on various doors and various storage areas. This was notably missing on the door that goes up to our storage area on the fourth floor. I've already reached out to facilities to put a decal on that door, and that's being taken care of. So not really directly impacting what we do, but again, kind of peripherally related. One other thing that came up, again, nothing that you guys will have any impact on or that you have to change your process with. It was found actually in our rules and regulations that govern the practice of medicine through med staff. This is like the governing body that tells doctors how to, what the expectations are for them as they practice medicine here at Woodland Memorial. It was found in one of those binders that respiratory therapy medications and physical therapy orders, they are specifically carved out, saying that after 72 hours or 3 days, the respiratory therapy medications need to be reevaluated and reordered by our providers. That's something that I was not aware of previous to this mock survey. And after doing a little bit of digging within our sister facilities in the region, nobody seems to be aware that this is actually on the books consistently throughout the region. So what does this mean? Just to reiterate, doesn't really mean anything for bedside staff. This is discussions that will be happening at a higher level regionally, just so that you guys are aware. The discussions are already starting from a respiratory standpoint and a med staff standpoint. We want to see if this is a regulatory requirement, perhaps a CMS requirement, or if this is potentially something that is just relatively antiquated, hasn't been paid attention to, and can be taken out. Either way, it was a good find because none of us were aware. We are now, and we're going to be taking action on it. This likely, if we do take action on it and it is a regulatory requirement, this will be an additional ask for our physicians and our providers. And how that manifests, I can't say. But again, not something that's directly related to what we are doing bedside, but something that touches respiratory. All right, another hanging slide. Team, again, expectation at the end of the pay period, you're signing off on your clockings just to verify that you're getting paid for the time that you're doing. It is expectation and your responsibility to do so. Employee evaluations. So the window for doing self-evaluations is still open. And something that I found out after doing a few employee evaluations this morning is that the process has changed just a little bit since last year. The self-evaluation was an option previously. The staff members did not necessarily have to do it. But what I have found out just this morning after going through a couple is that, in fact, when the my evaluation of you guys is submitted and it throws it back to you to sign off, you are collectively forced basically to go through and answer the self-evaluation questions. Not a huge deal, but nevertheless, it is going to require you to go through and make selections before you're able to acknowledge and submit the employee evaluations that I am giving you. Just like in years past, I will be taking you guys either into the office or down into one of the administrative offices one by one to go over it with you. Very easy, straightforward. Typically takes about 5 to 10 minutes. We go over what has been done during the evaluation period. It's a great place for you to open up a conversation about some goals that you have professionally, things that you'd like to potentially get trained into, and more generally, where I think you guys, how you guys are doing, and where I see your professional career developing here within Woodland and more broadly within the organization. Okay, employee satisfaction. So this is the My Voice survey. We took a really deep dive into the responses from last month. So with that, we're now going to kind of go drill a little bit deeper into some questions that came back with relatively low responses to see what it is that you guys collectively think about that. And if you have any ideas, suggestions, or insight for me to help facilitate change to make things better. So one of those questions, and this is something that in various forms comes up, pretty frequently, that comes up rather short, is I have confidence in senior management's leadership. Now, the score on this is rated out of a 5 being the best and 0 or 1 being the worst. This one is rated relatively low at 3.89. Now, that being said, this score is higher versus the overall organization, but still relatively low. Now, I'll open it up to to those that are on the call. Do you have any, let me ask you this more generally. In your minds, anybody, what level do you consider to be senior management? Marissa, Zavart, Ina? Welcome, Leslie.
Hey Brian. So last time I put like all good stuff here because last time it was like really reflecting towards you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do a really good job. So I put kind of all positive stuff because you do a good job with us. But as far as like other people, other like advanced people you report to or like up the chain higher up,
Gotcha.
I mean, we don't honestly have any interaction or know anything or do we
Yeah.
always feel included? Probably not.
Yeah.
But in my view, because all of the from last year, like it was all kind of towards you,
Yeah.
I put good stuff,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah,
Can I jump in?
absolutely. Welcome.
Okay, so I'm glad that you said that, Marissa. I appreciate that. I don't like when people are afraid like to talk about why they put what they put and what we can do better. So my question to you all, not just you, but you all is, what would it look like? Or how do we start to get you to where you have confidence in our leadership? What things can we do to improve that?
If I heard you right, Marissa, I think a little bit, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had touched on the point where you like you get the sense of feeling removed, that maybe decisions, choices, conversations, what have you, are being made maybe in a vacuum, maybe in a silo. You just don't really necessarily have face time with these individuals. So maybe it makes you guys feel a little bit in the lurch.
Yes, that was perfect. Exactly.
Okay, thank you. So here's my next question, just because I want to be able to start thinking about how we change that perspective. Has there been a recent example so that I kind of know which direction to go in, where you all just, like, decisions were made that you all didn't have a say in, or communication that came down without discussions, that kind of thing? Do you all have any examples? That would really help me.
I could speak to that.
Okay, great, thank you.
And honestly, I will be so bold as to further say that I think that I speak for quite a few of the RT staff members.
Mhm.
Finances.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
finances, productivity. There's a lot of discussions that happen at a very high level that are really seemingly shrouded in mystery. Speaking from experience from when I was working bedside at another Dignity facility, there's a lot of conversations, I'm sure, that happened at a very high level. The manner in which it gets disseminated to the bedside worker,
Mhm.
it doesn't really shed a good amount of light as to the why.
Okay, that is helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
You guys have any other insight or observations?
When I took the survey, I was only here for a week, so I honestly I had no idea who any of the leaders were, but I think I've only seen one or two. And I've only learned their names once I was in the new orientation employees at the site.
Gotcha.
So, yep.
So how, Brian, and this is something that I was going to talk to you about. How do we, I know that this is very convenient for everyone. I'm trying to figure out how do we get that increased face time,
Yeah.
like where we're not impeding work, but if people want to chat for a couple minutes, then we chat for a couple of minutes. What does that look like, I guess?
Yeah, no, sure. That we did have a program. It seems to have gotten either mothballed or other priorities have taken precedent. But we had a program that was called Wellness Wednesdays. This was where we had volunteers of both senior leadership, managers, supervisors that would go around the hospital and facilitated not only, giving out some snacks, treats, candies, but also was a moment for us to have some FaceTime with staff, that a conversation, a casual, quick conversation could occur. I don't know that this has happened in months, and I'm not sure why it stopped, but that was something that we did. Beyond, of course, the leadership roundings that we do, that we go to specific units.
Okay. Because like respiratory is, in my opinion, that's a department where you're not typically going to see people gathered together because you all are in rooms taking care of the patient. But also we do want FaceTime. So I I'm trying to figure out how do we make that happen where we're not taking people from the work that they're doing, but
Mhm.
we're at least able to see people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. We do have shift change early in the morning and in the evening, in the RT break room. It
Okay.
is, that's probably where you're going to be able to connect with the most, it's where I'm able to connect with the most staff members.
Okay.
But with that said, of course, it, it is, it's about a half an hour for the off-going shift to report out to the oncoming shift, for the patients that they have. So it can be, a little bit chaotic, but nevertheless, I mean, certainly can, pop in there to, introduce, like, say a few words, if nothing else.
Okay. And shift change is 7?
Mm-hmm. 7 to 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for those of you that are on the call besides Marissa, any other comments, questions, suggestions, regarding this question? Okay. Well, I think we got some good feedback, and it sounds like we have or are making a action plan, to move forward with. So I'll, obviously I'll be partnering with you, Leslie, to move forward, in doing that.
Sounds good. And if you all think of anything in the meantime, something extra or whatever the case may be, any suggestions, just let Brian know. And then when we get together, you know, we can go over it.
Sounds good. Okay, again, just another hanging slide. A lot of you have already gone through Hospital Skills Fair and Clinical Skills Day, Education Day. If you haven't done so already, you'll be on the schedule and placed on the master schedule for Dave to go and attend these here in the next few months. The concept is to do this on your birth month. It doesn't always work out that way. Really, the hard and fast rule is that we want to get this done on an annual basis, so that each and every one of you have it done within the calendar year. I believe the majority of the staff has completed it. For those left over, you guys will be scheduled. And I'll be following up with you on those dates and times just to reiterate what's already posted.
Can I just add one thing?
Mhm.
So there has been some discussion. Part of it was from, I think, you all who had a suggestion. And I think some of the nursing staff did as well, that maybe we needed to look at doing 8-hour days. And so that is something that the educators are actually going to present to the departments for review. So I'm not sure exactly what that'll look like, but yeah, so hopefully we can make it look like what other people are envisioning it to be, especially the ones that have to go to it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thanks for that feedback, Leslie.
Absolutely.
It up until last year, it was all done in one day. And then there was a change, and I think people are very interested in going back to just the 1-day session.
Yeah. You know, what I'm used to is you have maybe 4 days for a skills fair in a year's time. And that is to get people from the different shifts, but also for makeup. And it can be done because, you know, people in larger facilities do it and it's successful, like it sounds like it was in the past. It's just a matter of switching gears and then planning how we're going to go back if that's what's going to happen, and what that's going to look like, because it's also extremely hard on the educators.
sure.
that's what they do. That's all their daily work is planning for the next skills day and, you know, education day.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
And just a quick note, I didn't drop a slide into the slide deck to go over it, but we will be doing RT specific skills fair in September again, and October. New schedules will have you placed in those slots. I don't know, can't remember the dates exactly off the top of my head, but I believe it's the end of September, beginning of October. Same thing that we have been doing. There'll be a pathways test, which will be credited for an hour. There'll be the skills fair hands-on, which will be credited for an hour. There should be 4 stations that we rotate through. And that's coming up. I have a workbook that is being processed at our print shop, updated for this year. As soon as it comes in, I'll give it to you guys. The test should be posted at the beginning of September, and of course, I'll let you guys know when that all populates.
One other question I have, that's probably a lie, I'm probably gonna ask some more, but
Sure.
if you all, especially where respiratory is concerned, if you all have subjects that you think are better suited for in-services, you know, instead of skills fair and education day, say something, because maybe that's another opportunity. I don't love that we have only 2 methods of education and one is a computer.
Mhm.
I think some things are probably better suited in an in-service type of thing. So maybe just think about that and let us know.
Absolutely. And we do have vendors, good relationships with our vendors to facilitate that if need be.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so another hanging slide just for your information. The EdAssist program and the Education Fund program through SEIU, these are just kind of buckets of money that are available to you as represented employees working for Dignity Health. If you're interested in doing certification programs, brick and mortar institutions for education, conferences, a lot of different things that you can get reimbursed for through these programs. I've utilized both of these throughout my career. They're fantastic. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of coordination, but it does work and it is available to you. You guys should be using it. If you're interested, have any questions or need some assistance in navigating it, more than happy to help you guys with it. Unit-Based Practice Council. So Carrie, as I mentioned, she is over in the sleep lab doing EEGs. She's not on the call. Danielle has been out on LOA. However, she is back to work tomorrow. So very excited to see her coming back. She is good to go and is she can't wait to get back into the department. I will say that there was a planned RT social last Friday, I believe. I didn't get a chance to follow up with Carrie as to how many people showed up, but the idea was pushed out there on our group chat that there was a concert in the park downtown. I believe Mason wanted to bring his girls. Carrie was going to go. I don't know who else went, but very cool that you guys were able to coordinate that, and hopefully you're able to go if you were available. Like I said, I'll follow up with Carrie to see how that actually how that came to be. I know that she was also considering other socials, including like Lake Natoma, going to either the river or someplace centrally located. I'll have to follow up with her to see how far along she is with that planning. Scanning scores, again, another hanging topic. I audit this daily. Everyone's doing very well. I would just want to reiterate, if you've come across a scanner that isn't working, take the time to get a different workstation and put in a ticket for any broken IT hardware or software. We all went through a relatively challenging period with IT downtime a few days ago. I think all things considered, we did incredibly well. We were reminded of how professional and expedient our in-house IT workers are. They work tirelessly to get our computers back online. That includes the computer that's in our department. So big shout out to our IT staff, both Jamie and Tim. If you get a chance to see them in the hallway, take a moment to thank them for what they did. This was pretty unprecedented and phenomenal that it was able to be addressed as quickly as it was. Positions. So still have a couple of per diem positions that are open. If you know someone or if you yourself are interested in this, go take a look online and apply. We're really hopeful to get these folks onboarded and ready to go before we get into our fall and winter months. Okay. Encampments. So as I alluded to earlier in the meeting, there was an executive order made by our governor, Gavin Newsom, regarding homeless encampments up and down the state. So I really wanted to touch on this for a few reasons. This happened days ago. It is currently being enforced. Essentially, what it comes down to is the governor has given local authorities throughout the state the ability to do sweeps and to clean up, break up homeless encampments wherever they may be. So instead of having a quasi-stable area for these people that are experiencing homelessness to congregate, they no longer will. So how how hospital leadership thinks this is going to impact not just Dignity Health, but all healthcare systems is when you have just wandering individuals, there's a higher likelihood that they will legitimately get into harm's way or be seeking shelter. And historically, they will be going into ERs, they'll be going into community centers, they'll be going into churches. There, as we all know, is a lot of mental illness and substance abuse that you do find in communities like this. So this is just a little bit of a heads up to be aware that our emergency room could be experiencing or will be experiencing an uptick in this particular patient population, and just to be aware of your surroundings with this this potential influx of patients. I will say that our security team is also very aware of this and has been partnering with our ER staff in order to mitigate any kind of risks or if there are unruly patients to partner with local authorities in order to see that they're taken care of and that they kind of move on. It is a very fluid situation, just is happening, like I said, a few days ago. And how this ultimately, what this ultimately looks like through time, we will see. But I just wanted to make you guys kind of aware. And I'll hand it over to Leslie if you have any further commentary on this.
No, I don't. You covered everything. I don't think that it's going to work like they think it will.
Yeah.
They're going to break up the encampments, but that doesn't change people's
Status. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Time will tell.
Yes, it will.
Yeah. Okay. So productivity.
Oh, okay.
Everybody loves productivity. This is what, again, another thing that I was alluding to at the beginning of this meeting. This is a very important meeting. We're going to continue to have these discussions. Just for some historical context here, when I landed at Woodland Memorial Hospital, productivity, specifically as it pertained to respiratory therapy, was something that was, quite honestly, it wasn't an issue. It wasn't in the forefront of my mind. I can tell you that it wasn't in the forefront of a lot of different departments' minds, because it was something that had always been, as far as I know, fine. At the end of our fiscal years, we would come back and the numbers would hash out, and we would be at or above 100% across the board consistently. So what has been made abundantly clear, not just to myself, but to a lot of department leaders across the hospital, is now that we're 2 pay periods into the brand new fiscal year, there's a few things that are happening. From a financial standpoint, there have been adjustments made to the way in which we count the productive hours for our workers. And there have been adjustments made to kind of the standard for our particular hospital for our workers. And to add, to borrow a phrase, insult to injury, we start our fiscal year in the dead of summer, when typically respiratory therapy is kind of at their slowest. We are a specialized ancillary department, not quite like nursing, obviously, where the hospital census doesn't directly impact our work. Our work is directly impacted by the amount of orders and modalities that our providers are issuing for the patients that are in-house. So with all that said, everybody that's on this call is very aware that since the beginning of the month, our hospital, for a respiratory standpoint, has been exceedingly slow. It just has. There hasn't been an abundance of ventilators. There hasn't been an abundance of treatments. There hasn't been an abundance of BiPAPs. All of these flow into what we call RVUs, or relative value units. So this is a relatively new discussion. I think for you guys, haven't really done a deep dive into productivity previously, because it hasn't been really an issue before. But we want to make sure that we're giving you the tools, and I'm coming up with a plan to make sure that we're in alignment, and we get closer, while still practicing, safely. We get closer to the expectations that are before us. And again, not just for respiratory, but for all departments. So an RVU. RVUs can be translated into also time equivalents. So an RVU, one RVU can be thought of roughly being a time equivalent of maybe 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're to do the math to break apart breaks and lunches, the expectation to offset 1 FTE for 1 shift would to be about 30 procedures, or 30 RVUs. And that is stated on this slide. Now, we're going to be doing a little bit of a change in our operations from day to day to empower you guys to know exactly what the RVU associated with procedure is. So we're going to be incorporating new worksheets to be disseminated at the beginning of the shift. This, it aligns with what our sister facilities are doing, and it has an updated, this is two-sided, front and back. Front side will just give you kind of the names of the RTs that are on for day shift or night shift, what their assignments are. Below that will be basically a count of what points are on any particular ward, and then a space at the bottom for a shift lead to notate if there's been any HCs or sick calls, kin care, flexed, and times that are associated. The back page is updated RVUs for fiscal year 25. This tells us exactly what credit it is that we are given for the tasks that we charge and that we do. So not only will this give you an idea of, what you're doing, what we're getting compensated for, but also to give a more accurate count for the shift that is following you, so that we can staff and flex appropriately. So for those of you that are on the call, taking a look at this photo or taking a look at the slide, taking a look at the RVUs, I'll pause for questions because I'm sure there's plenty.
How's this different from what we're doing right now?
How is this different? So I think it is information is a little bit different than what we're doing right now, insofar as the RVUs that we had trained to previously have been modified. Some of the RVUs have gone up, some of the RVUs have gone down. And honestly, this is a manner in which that we can keep it closer to, honestly, just brass tacks. This is a easier way to keep track of numbers and productivity shift to shift. And it is one of the tools that I'll be rolling out for the department so that you have the most accurate, up-to-date information. And then, obviously on the back end, I have the most accurate and up-to-date information of what you guys are doing and when you guys are flexing and if there are any adjustments that need to be made. I will say that, oh, yes.
I mean, I was gonna wait till you finish.
Oh, no, go ahead, please.
Okay, so just looking at this, I see that you don't get any credit for is that the initial vent setup? Top right?
So
Doesn't look like you get credit for vents either way, but you all manage almost every aspect of the vent. Is that not correct?
So, this is all right. I'm here for it. I'm glad we're having this conversation. Very eye-opening, I will say, Leslie. This is what has been going on in the background, and there has been, from what I can tell, some modifications from the last fiscal year. This is per the charge master that I was given recently. So,
Is that the one I sent you?
yes.
Okay.
So if you to change your view to the bottom left of the page, you'll see vent initial day invasive, vent subsequent day invasive. Okay. So what this comes down to is historically, you're right. We did get roughly 6 to 7 points for doing the initial setup and the placement of the patient on the vent. This was to offset the RT seeing that patient for one shift. Then, of course, there's a night shift because it doesn't, it's not as though the patient no longer needs to be seen or managed. However, that charge that you see for the vent initial no charge or the vent subsequent no charge,
Yep.
that is the charge for the following shift that they make. So what does this mean effectively? Effectively, what this means is that for 24 hours, we have roughly 6.5 points, or 6.5 RVUs to work with in order to manage the patient. So from a operational standpoint, that means we are now, instead of which we can have a more broad conversation offline, which I'm sure we will, but basically that means they get 3 points for day shift and they get 3 points for night shift in order to manage an event for 24 hours.
Okay. It's not computing in my mind, so we'll have to talk offline.
Sure. Okay. Absolutely.
Because the no charge Like, I get that. We're not dropping charges for it, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't get credit for productivity if we're actually doing it.
That is what that's historically been the case.
And I'll go a step further and say, I've just, I had this discussion not long ago because not here in this hospital, but somewhere else, the nurses didn't get any credit for the events. It was just RT getting credit for all of it. And I said, well, what exactly do you do with it? Like, tell me exactly what you do with it. And can we quantify that? And we couldn't. So nothing was changed. But the point is, I'm used to RT getting all the credit for it. Yeah. Which doesn't equate to zero. Now, I don't understand RVUs probably as good as I should, but we don't have to drop a charge for you all to get credit for it. So that's what I'll have to figure out.
Yeah. So non-productive time, that is still considered time.
But it's productive time because it's
with sorry, yes. Yeah. Because we're
Okay.
actually with the patient. So
Okay.
to my knowledge, those in the last 2 to 4 years, we can talk offline, but
Okay.
it is
And
what
I
it
mean,
is.
that might
Yeah.
be a standard that everybody's moving to. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to understand more about why those were zero.
Yeah. Yeah, and this, of course, it's not as though our staff, we're still the expectation, of course, is that we are doing that, which we are.
Right.
Where the trouble comes in is that for these things that we're doing that do take time, there's not a tool or a charge that we have been given to offset that time. And I'll have you know that this has just been a problem that has only gotten more complicated as long as I've been with the organization as an RT.
Okay.
So
Super exciting. Okay.
Ina, I saw that you briefly went off mute. Did you have something to add?
Yeah, can you explain why the low risk and the high risk delivery get 0 RVUs when we go to all of those deliveries at all times?
Yes, that was something that was eye-opening to me. Oh, there you go. You put it in the chat. Thank you. Very eye-opening to me as well. That has been a change since I have last looked at our charge master. This is again some conversations that I'll be having offline with our finance team and my boss, who's on the call right now. We have had the expectation that all RTs go to the deliveries in the past. I know that other facilities have vacillated between having them only going to high risk or not going at all until they're called. I do not have an answer as to why that has been rendered 0.
Before we talk offline about this, I'm gonna look into Mom Baby to see if they get credit for it.
Okay.
Because they might not get credit for it either.
Okay.
Doesn't make it right though. Okay.
Yeah. This was again a conversation that came up when I was at my previous facility too. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
I'm sure people have very good reasons for the decisions that they make. It goes back to what we said earlier, we just need to understand them and then plan accordingly.
Correct. Yes. Ina, anything else? I see you're still off mute.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. Okay. So obviously I know this is a lot. I know this is a big change. But part of my job, part of all of our jobs, part of our core values here at, with Common Spirit, Dignity Health, is to be good stewards of our resources. And this is an attempt at finding out, where we're at, making adjustments, and moving forward. To that end, I will say that I've developed a Google Sheet, which I will be sharing with our shift leads, that essentially will allow for a report to be made within Cerner through Discern Analytics that you can run for your shift to see, kind of get a touch point of where we are for the amount of procedures or points that we've done thus far, so that you'll be more confident in when we are flexing. It is a charge report that can be ran, and then you just literally take all of the data that comes from that Discern Analytics, you can drop it into this Google Sheet, and it will come up with a point count that is based on these RVUs, these new RVU standards. So in the coming days, we'll have a shift lead meeting to discuss this further. Kudos board. Again, I know there's a lot going on, summer break, families. Last 2 months, there have been no kudos that I've seen. Doesn't mean that you guys aren't doing phenomenal work. I will say just a general kudos, not just for the RT department, but for the hospital at large. Our last mock survey through CIHQ went phenomenally well. And this obviously could not happen without your support. So thank you. Questions, comments, concerns?
I do have one comment.
Sure.
So, back in when I was at Mercy Folsom last year, when we did our survey, also the same question came up, how staff feel like they don't see the administration enough. So what they have implemented, and I think that it has had a good effect on that hospital, was that they would also do like the gratitude cart roundings with some snacks. It would be done more on a regular basis, like they started daily, every day, twice. One time for morning shift and then in the evening shift as well. But my personal experience was that when I brought up the concerns, they were at least discussed in the management meetings, and some serious ones would have did get resolved quite quickly. So I did see a positive effect when they implemented that practice back in Folsom. So that's something you guys to think about.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anything else? Okay. Well, again, this was a whirlwind of a department meeting. Thank you all for your time and your attention. Obviously, more to come. And have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.